Hey everybody, welcome to my first video. My name is Michael Maida. I'm a third-year urology resident at the University of Florida. And for this first video, I was going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I chose to make this channel. As you can tell, I don't have the best equipment, but I basically just bought a $20 webcam from Amazon and put up some lights on the wall that I realized don't work so great, but I'm working on it. In regards to why I made this channel, so over the last 6 to 7 years or so, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, whether it be friends, friends of friends, family, former classmates, just people in my community sometimes, asking me a bunch of different questions about whether it be getting into medical school, getting into residency, what it was like, how to deal with different obstacles and challenges along the way. So I decided to kind of take that and make a few videos just telling you a little bit about my experience, my journey, and hopefully that'll help others answer some questions and kind of help you decide, if this is the right path for you and different ways to approach it. My experience just being one of many people's experiences. So a little bit about me. So I was born in Southern California, born and raised in Burbank, California. I went to undergrad at the University of California in Santa Barbara. It's where I got my biology degree. I took my MCAT at that time and had decided to apply to medical school. It's really tough getting, all your prerequisites and everything. You need to make a good application. So I had decided to take a gap year to strengthen my resume a little bit before applying to medical school. What that gap year consisted of for me was doing some research at USC with the Department of Urology, a position that I was able to get through a family friend of mine that was actually a resident at USC, former resident at USC, and got me in touch with them. So that was a great experience for me. That's kind of the main thing that I did during that gap year, and then decided to apply to medical school. So up until that point, things were going pretty well for me. I was pretty confident. So I started the medical school application process, applied to a bunch of places just like everyone else, and ended up getting 2 interviews. I was waitlisted at one of the programs and rejected from the other program, ended up actually not getting in at all. And that was really my first major humbling academic experience. That really hit me hard, kind of kicked me off that pedestal that I had put myself on. I was so confident, I thought that things would work out. I worked so hard, I did everything I needed to do, and I didn't get in. So I had a lot of questions at that time and doubts whether or not I should be doing this in the first place. Maybe this wasn't the right career path for me. Did I really want to go through that whole process all over again, hours and hours working on secondaries, spending all that money to apply to these programs, then being an even bigger debt after I start med school? So I had a lot of doubts at that time. I feel like a lot of people that didn't get in probably felt the same way, at least to some level. But I ended up saying that I would do it again. So that second time around, I focused a little bit more on my application, making sure to perfect it as much as I could. I also got a job working as a tutor for the Princeton Review. I was tutoring parts of the MCAT and also SAT for high school students as well. I did a little bit more volunteering and I continued to do my research at USC. Really, I didn't feel that what I did that second year really improved my resume that much. If I was on the admissions committee and I saw the two applications between the 2 years, I don't think that it was really that big of a difference. That being said, that second time around, I ended up getting actually a bunch of interviews, different states over the country. I ended up getting multiple acceptances, um, partially to my surprise, because I really didn't feel like I was that different of an applicant, but things worked out for me. Sort of made me think that part of this process is a crapshoot, and there's some luck involved, I'm sure. Who's reading your application, when they're reading it, when you submit. I'm sure a bunch of different things go into play. There are so many qualified pre-med students, and they can only choose so many. But fortunately, my luck had turned around. I got accepted. I was super excited. So I ended up choosing to go to the University of the University of Iowa for medical school. It was one of the better programs I had gotten into. I didn't really know too much about the program. I definitely didn't know anything about Iowa, nor did I ever think I would end up there. That being said, despite the huge culture shock of moving from Southern California to Iowa, I met a lot of great people. I had a good experience. Medical school is obviously tough, much tougher than undergrad. It feels like all of undergrad, all the work you put into undergrad would be how much work you put into every semester for 4 years. So it was definitely a tough experience. In regards to choosing my specialty, I kind of knew that I wanted to do a surgical subspecialty, and ultimately I had narrowed it down to urology, orthopedics, and plastic surgery. I ultimately went with urology just because I thought that it offered the most diversity. So many different types of procedures, whether it be endourology, robotic surgery, and even clinic procedures. So there's some really cool procedures they did in clinic. And then they also did just, the really big open abdominal surgeries as well. So that combination really pushed me towards doing urology. And on top of that, I really feel like I meshed with the people in the field. They had similar personalities to me. I got along with them really well, and decided to apply to urology. Similarly, the application process is not fun. You spend hours and hours and days working on getting your personal statement done, getting your letters of recommendation, doing your away rotations, making sure that your step scores are good enough to do the field that you want to do, and networking. So it's a really tough process, but fortunately, I got enough interviews where I was pretty comfortable that I would likely match. And that that interview cycle, that was the pre-COVID cycle, before all of the craziness that came with COVID. We actually went to in-person interviews, and that was a crazy time because you have all these interviews in different parts of the country, all so closely packed together. You're trying to figure out how to travel from place to place, whether or not you can even make it to certain interviews. I think over that 6 or so week period, I took about 22 flights altogether. I think I wrote it down in some spreadsheet or something. I spent thousands of dollars, some sleepless nights, getting delayed in airports, flights canceled, showing up to the city hours before my actual interview. That being said, it ended up, fortunately, all working out for me. I ended up matching at the University of Florida, which was super exciting, for multiple different reasons. It was a great program. I really meshed with the people at the program when I interviewed there. The weather was much better than what I had experienced at Iowa. The winters are much less harsh. Um, that was an exciting next step for me. That being said, as you can imagine, all of these different experiences, different places that I've lived, different people that I met along the way, all the struggles of getting into med school, getting into a residency, meeting different people, dealing with, big culture shocks, moving from California to Iowa to Florida, they really helped me grow as a person and kind of shaped who I am today. So I guess what I'd like to do is share a little bit with everyone else the ways that I dealt with different parts of my journey, advice that I might have, suggestions, things that I would have liked to do differently but didn't have the chance to. And I would like to use these videos as a way to do that. That being said, I'm super open to any feedback, suggestions, questions, ideas for videos, content, and kind of based on all that, I think I will, potentially over time change the direction of the channel and kind of just see how it goes. So that's my first video. That's me, a little bit about what I'm hoping to accomplish with these videos. If you at all feel like this is something you're interested in seeing more of, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'm looking forward to the next video. So I'll see you guys then.